you have any movies showing at the screening here?
Hello.
Just welcome some enter movies. That's like multitasking. That's the ultimate.
Yeah.
The ultimate, yeah. Because both take serious.
Yeah.
I don't even think my phone.
I'm inside the building.
Okay, well, let's get started.
Okay.
We have a genuine screen queen here to interview, Anjanette Clewis, who premiered, her first movie role was in American Nightmare, which, have you guys seen American Nightmare? It's kind of a sleeper cult hit starring Debbie Rochon that was made in the year 2000. And it's a really good movie, like one of the best, one of Debbie Rochon's best movies, one of the best movies filmed in Texas, and just an all-around good movie. And what was your character's name?
I was the Voodoo Princess.
Voodoo Princess. She was famous for her latex dress, and a particular scene in American Nightmare. And how'd you get that part? What was the story behind that?
There's a great story behind that. There is a local band in Dallas called Ghoul Town. Have you guys heard of Ghoul Town? See a lot of it. See, everybody knows Ghoul Town, nobody knows me. What's up with that? Well, I actually got started in films originally because I've been a fire performer since I was 18 years old. And so, aside from touring with sideshows and various other bar mitzvahs, weddings, whatever, I've also done shows for bands. And I used to travel to Ghoul Town and do shows. And John Keyes heard of them and wanted to put them in the movie soundtrack. So he came out to a show and saw them live and decided, oh my God, these guys are characters. We've got to put them in this movie. So Ghoul Town is actually in American Nightmare. So if you're a fan of theirs, I've got to help you.
John Keyes is the director.
Yeah. And so he came out to a couple of shows. He had to have them in things. So he kind of wrote them into where they're playing at this party that's happening Halloween night. Came out to another show to finalize some details, and I just happened to be there eating fire. And he's like, oh, yeah, we have to have this. And so he just kind of wrote me in and just had various things for me to do. And as it turns out, I mean, Debbie Rochon's character is killing people off based on like their worst fear. Like these group of friends are sitting around talking about what they're afraid of most. And I forgot exactly what the guy's worst fear was. But ultimately, someone spiked his drink, and he's kind of hallucinating and seeing things, and he's focusing on me. Like I just sort of appear everywhere. And then he goes to kill me, and after a while, and then when he pulls back, he realizes he just stabbed his wife. So she's like knocking him off each one, or it might have been her fear that someone close to her would kill her or something like that. And so he was manipulated into it, and so that was just sort of my start. And then John Keyes also did Suburban Nightmare, was his next film, and he gave me my first little actual role where I got to talk and strip and all the other things that you see in horror films.
Talking script, I mean, that's the too many things. What else is there? So, so then you were also in Witchcraft 13, which I didn't even realize that the Witchcraft series had continued to the number 13.
Oh, it keeps going.
The series that wasn't that famous when it began, but seems to never end. It's going to set the all-time record for sequels. So how did that come about?
I actually answered a casting in Houston, drove out to Houston for the audition, and got it. We filmed it in Houston. I went out there on weekends to do it. It's funny too because the original Witchcraft in the 1980s, I think.
Yeah, a long time ago.
A long time ago. The rest of the series has nothing to do with the first one. Like, you know, there's that reluctant hero, Will Spanner, and they've been played by different actors over the years. There's always that reluctant hero, and he dies and comes back, and there's always something for this guy to do. And there's been vampires and witches and you name it, in this, just going on and on and on in this franchise. But the original one actually has nothing to do with it. It really doesn't establish any of that. But it is the longest running straight to DVD horror movie series that there is. And we're trying to get 14 going. This is about a new project. They left it open for me to come back, and I got enough connections, I think I might be able to get it worked out.
Now you're running your Spring Queen career from Dallas. Is that hard?
Really?
Hard to hook up with these pictures?
Texas is a lot like Oklahoma in the fact that like everybody wants to make a horror film. There's a lot of horror fans, and people would rather make that than anything else. So if you have, in Dallas, you have reality TV. You have some serious filming there right now, but they're, they bring in all the actors from LA, and then they just fill the roles with like, the extras with the local people. And then you have horror films, independent horror films. So, if you had to pick something living in Dallas, that would be it anyways.
Okay.
So you might as well love it, right?
And you have a couple of new ones that are not out, not yet out, right? What are those?
Through Hell, I'm possessed by ghosts. I'm the killer, but it's really not my fault. So I'm like the victim as well. There's a lot of stunt work. I do stunts. Also, there's a lot of fight scenes and craziness, and that comes out at the beginning of next year. And then I just got cast in Alien Vengeance 3, which will be my first science fiction movie. I'll be an alien. I think my character ultimately fights an alien, dies. I get killed, and then the alien takes over my body, and I become an alien. That's really all I know about it up to this point.
Okay, well, now Anjanette, I want you to tell a story because Anjanette and I are at side-by-side tables in the autograph room. And so we were talking, Anjanette has been in all of these horrifying pictures and all these horrifying situations. But the most horrifying situation she's ever been in has been at the Horror Con in Orlando. You have to tell the story of being barricaded inside the Horror Con in Orlando.
That was good times. So have you ever been to Orlando, anybody?
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, okay, it's like the armpit of Florida. They just do not talk about the crime in the tourist brochures. So our hotel, we did ZonaCon, and our hotel is right across the street from Disneyland, where families are bringing their children, and there is a really large crime element in Orlando. We were warned when we got there, if you left the hotel, don't leave by yourself, especially if you're a woman. I was like, shut up. Really? Okay, that's nice. Or don't leave the hotel unless you have to, and then if you do, pair up. And I thought that was interesting, because these people had nothing to do with the convention. They were just Orlando people in the hotel to work there. And anyways, various things took place, but our first night there, the guy running the convention ran in and announced to everyone that nobody could leave the main room. Everybody had to stay put because there was a gunman on the loose. Shots had been fired, and the cops were there. The cops were on site, and you could hear the helicopter at that point. Everybody's freaking out. So they shut the doors, and everyone's just like putting tables on top of tables and barricading in. And I had some crazy pictures. I mean, I'm there with people from Jackass and Survivor and some reality people. I think the pink and black team that did the celebrity race or something. Amazing Race. I'm not into reality TV, so I'm just hopefully know some of these people are. There were some horror people there from Return of the Living Dead. Anyways, it was very, very, very interesting. And anyways, so we're barricaded underneath the tables, and everyone's just waiting for someone to come in and say it's okay. We're all just chilling out. The guy next to me was from Jackass, and he's underneath his table, and he's like on his phone. I was like, who could you possibly be texting right now? And he was like, no, I'm posting to Facebook, so if I die right now, everyone will know what happened to me. And I was like, you know what? That's a really good idea. And I'm posting on my Facebook, okay, I'm in Orlando at ZonaCon. I'm underneath the table in the main room. Shots have been fired. There's a gunman on the loose. The cops are here. And the best part of this story, and I love this part, is like a minute later I get like this notification from Facebook that my stepmonster, likes my status. Really? That's awesome. Anyways, there were Nerf wars going on. This was an anime horror convention, and they'd given everybody guns for this Nerf war and whatever. And so we had to wait for the cops to come in after they made sure that there was no gunmen left in our hotel. And they had to go through and check everybody's bags and make sure all the guns were fake or Nerf guns, and that everybody actually had a real weapon before we could go back to our hotel room. It was crazy.
All right, did you always want to be an actress?
Always, always, always. Like you guys saw, the full moon pictures is here. So I was was always in the watching your stuff, and I was a big fan of Elvira, and anything Full Moon Pictures came out, I just had to have it. Ever since I was like this kid.
Really, including the toys?
You know what, I actually have the pinhead. Looks just like the pinhead they have out there, but he's wearing a blue shirt. What's with that? I keep meaning to get by there and ask him. Anyways, if you guys haven't seen the Full Moon Roadshow, you should do that because it's very interesting. They incorporate all the different stuff that Full Moon has done over the years. And at one particular they did in Dallas, they were auctioning off dolls that had been in the movie. I got one. It's got the man in my house.
Pinhead from what movie? Oh, that's
They like to do a lot of doll movies. I don't know what it is about that, about Charlie
He said
dolls, but like he
Pinhead.
likes doll movies.
Yeah.
He makes a lot of doll movies.
Yeah, well, sometimes I think that they make the movies to sell the dolls. You know,
I know, right?
there's just so many dolls.
I have a Killjoy doll too. I saw those over there on the tables. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. All right, so you were a fan. You were a collector and a fan from way back, from when you were a little girl. And so have you, like, what do you want to do that you haven't done yet?
A Full Moon Picture.
Really?
I harass Charlie all the time. I'm like, seriously, Charlie? When are we doing this? He's like, so sick of hearing from me. If I were him, I would put me in a film just to get me off his back. You know what I mean? I'd be like, I don't know. I mean, there's more mainstream movies that are out right now and stuff like that, but I really like the types of films that I do. Things that you can, like I said, I do a lot of stunt work. I like to do stuff where I can showcase that, where it's not just a lot of acting or this or that or whatever. There's a lot of action in it and stuff, other things for you to do.
And do you still do your performing with the bands and the
I'm
stunt
doing-
stage work?
Well, I'm older now. I'm not going to say how old. So the shows are fewer and farther between for the fire, but I do have a show. If you guys are in Dallas around Halloween, so the 30th, Saturday the 30th, I'm doing a fire show with Ugly Mustard. You guys remember them from way back? They had a couple of CDs at Trees.
What do you do besides fire eating?
There's that.
Yeah. No. I mean, with fire.
Yeah, with fire. Well, I say fire eater. I'm a fire performer. I blow fire. I eat fire. I have this. I wear a patent leather bikini on stage, and you can light the bikini on fire. So that's always crowd pleasing too. When your crotch is all lit up or your boobs are all lit up.
It's
real flames then.
I'm going to be there for that.
Yeah. So.
I was at the Weekend of Horrors in Burbank last week, and they had one of these side shows, you know, with the wharf announcer and the various people that work with swords and with you know, and anyway, the way they get their tips at the end of the show is the fire eater, sword swallower girls who are in bikinis allow the audience to staple money to their body with just a stapler that you buy at Home Depot, you know, just a.
Now you guys have seen that in Tulsa, right?
And
They what do they call the big boobs? What is that group with the big boobs?
well, yeah, but if you want to staple the boobs, it's a 20. You have to use a 20.
There's certain body parts that cost more.
There are body parts that just cost $1. So have you ever done anything that painful?
Actually, yes. If you guys are ever like, who still MySpaces? I mean, I still have the MySpace, but I don't get on it very often. But if you do, my Facebook is a little bit more conservative because my agent's on there and some other active people, and you don't want to let everything hang out. But like I said, I've done the sideshow things. I can eat a light bulb. I can do the bed of nails and walk the swords, and but I also do what they call a human pin cushion, and that's where you put like straight needles going down your back on each side, and then you put like a ribbon around it, and it laces it up kind of like a corset. I mean, you don't pull it like you're lacing up a corset, but it's just like a visual kind of deal. So sometimes you'll go on stage and they'll do the whole process, like showing people how you know, putting them in, and then someone comes out there and laces you up, and you have sprayed it around. And,
How long does that take if it pins all the way down and like that?
well, I mean, really, it's just like a matter of like pinching the skin and pushing it through. But you do have to take your time though, because there's only so much you can take at a time. I don't know, the whole thing on stage would last about half an hour.
Really? Is that the most painful thing you do? Yeah. And what, can they get it like slightly wrong? And
No, they mark
slightly wrong
your
place?
back as a grid, and so they've got your spine covered. And then they'll do, on equal sides out, they'll mark it. So you have an entrance hole and an exit hole. And so when they're pulling it, the skin out, they just match the entrance to the exit.
You have to smile the whole time?
You really don't have to smile all the time, because it is painful. People do realize that. But it's a very artistic type thing to do that not all the sideshows do. I mean, the thing with the staple gun, that's a human condition too. It's a little different. Or you guys have seen the darts get thrown in and they stick in people's back. You know, it's like another form of like human condition.
Yeah.
Back.
So there's no trick to it, it's just can you take it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I have a picture of it on my MySpace if you guys ever look at it.
Well, what else do you have coming up?
That's all I got right now.
You guys have any questions for Anjanette? Okay.
Have you ever burned yourself?
You know what, I have never, you get a certain amount of whatever when you do it. Like, you can't taste your food for like a day. Kind of like if you drank coffee that was too hot, you kind of scald your tongue a little bit, just like that. And so you might get like a red mark or something like that. It'll go away in like a day or so. I did a Ghoul Town show actually with another fire performer, Thurman the Dragon. And he's a little crazier. You know, what I do is self-contained. It's very sexy. It's very, you know, I'm not going to hurt you doing it. You know what I mean? This guy gets up there and he just blows much fire, blows much fire. Well, I mean, I light myself on fire. You know, I run fire up and down my legs and stuff like that. And he came over and was joking around. You're kind of put on the spot. It's something you never worked on before. And that you're on stage and, you know, do what you got to do. And so I was turned around doing something and he came over and lit my butt on fire and left it on fire. You know, it's one thing like when you light your boobs up or, you know, you light the bikini up, you know, it's patent leather. So you've got this thick, you know, fabric over you. It's going to protect your skin. I mean, you're going to get the heat from on the side or whatever, but when you do just straight up skin, you know, you light it up and then your next motion is to put it out. And that's the first time I ever got burned.
When you say lit your butt on fire, what did he light? What
Like
was burning?
the thing that I wear, the bikini, is a tea bag. And so he just like lit and just walked off. But the whole thing
He
is
lit
when
the
you
tea
light
bag?
no, the butt. And it kind of looks like a
You ever
birthmark
put oil
now.
there or something, right? I mean,
Just a torch. Just rubbed off on the torch. The fuel on the torch just deposits as you hit the surface.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and that really sucked because I had to go to LA the very next day. I was on a flight. I had a 3rd-degree burn on my ass. Looks like a little birthmark now. You can barely see it.
Did you
But I was
yell
so
at him?
mad.
Did you yell at him afterwards?
I was like, seriously, dude? That's not cool. And anyways, he just blows fires. It always like, they actually banned him from that club because it was always blowing fire, and it uses a different fuel than I use also. And every fuel has a different property. Some can transfer really easy, some burn hotter than others. I mean, you really got to know your fuel. Well, I know his fuel. And whatever he uses is like burns really hot and fast, and it travels. And there were like speakers and PA type stuff that was hanging from the ceiling that he had burnt up or singed, and they won't let him. I mean, when you're up there putting fire, you have to worry about everybody else's safety, you know? It's like, there's a responsibility there.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions?
When's a defining moment in life that you wanted to do this? You know, like, you know, other people aspire to be
I
thespians
always
or
wanted to be a
fast
screen
food.
queen. I wanted to be the next Brent Stevens. You know, I wanted to be in like 500 horror films.
Really?
Yeah, but I never really had the drive to like go take acting class, go do this. It wasn't until John came and was just like, hey, I have this thing I want you to do. And then I got the bug, and immediately, almost immediately after that, I got 2 national commercials doing fire, and Linda McAllister was blowing me up to be my agent. And she was just like, I'll send you out, you gotta take class. And so I started taking classes in class for years, and just sort of took off from there. Just not really what I asked for. I always went the sideshow route and the performing arts and the crazier stuff. I never really thought about focusing it and doing acting until someone like introduced me into it. Like took me in and said, hey, I want you to do this. I see something and I think you should do this.
Anybody else?
What's your favorite horror movie?
Subspecies.
Wow.
That was my first vampire crush. I'm sorry. I just, I had this thing for rotting glass sauce when I was a little girl.
Anybody else?
What was it like working on Cheaters?
Okay, that has nothing to do with how big the screen queen is.
And no, neither does fire, but.
Well, no, I've done Fire and Witchcraft 13, American Nightmare. I guess that's the only horror stuff I've done with Fire.
I didn't know you were on Cheaters. 5 times. So what did you do?
You guys know reality TV is not real, right? I'm not like crushing anybody's like TV watching situation. I body double. I've been various people. I've been on a spinoff of Cheaters called Stag. It's hosted by Tommy Havey. I've done the pilot episode for Eye for an Eye, which is a court TV show where you don't get awarded money, you get revenge. And then I came back second season and played another character, and Kato Kalin was the host, which I thought was really appropriate having him as the host for this ridiculous court TV show. I've done a lot of reality TV actually. VH1's Motor Mouth.
Well, what did you do on Cheaters?
Actually, I did Fire on Cheaters. The first time I did Cheaters, I was the slut. In fact, okay, I've always been the slut. I was the slut in every episode I've done on Cheaters. Okay?
So you can provoke whoever.
Yeah, they don't want me to sit there and cry. They want, views and whatever.
Okay.
They don't want me to be the victim. Oh, it's over. And they don't want that for me. They want, the same thing they want from you in horror films.
Okay. All right, anybody else? All right. Well, we're right down there in the autograph room against the wall if you want to talk some more. And thanks for coming. And you're going to be back. You're hosting the whole thing, right? You're going to be hosting some other things tonight.
Yeah, tonight there's the Scream Queen contest coming up next. I'll be judging that. Girls.
Okay. And Charles Band will be here later.
Yeah, you guys got to catch that. I think it's 8 o'clock. But if you haven't seen the Full Moon Road show, definitely check it out.
And Michael Berryman will be here at 6.
6.
Okay. Anjanette Clewis.